There are multiple accounts coming out about Bibi Netanyahu having prior information about the likelihood of an attack, which he chose to ignore, apparently. These are very trying times. These are very interesting times, okay? These are, in the words of my favorite bald guy, possibly the weeks where decades happen, okay? You know, there are decades where nothing happens, and then there are weeks where decades happen, and we are now in the weeks where decades happen part of the story, it seems. I have never in my entire life of covering Israel and Palestine ever heard the American State Department and the IDF get together and collectively release information that says Iran, we do not have any evidence that Iran is responsible for this attack. I've never heard that. That, in my opinion, is the most terrifying thing I've ever heard from either of these institutions. Okay? That has never happened before. And I don't even believe them. I do believe that Iran certainly has something to do with this. Of course, Iran has something to do with this. They have no other support outside of Iran, which is why it is shocking and terrifying. Why the fuck is the Israeli state and why the fuck is the American State Department saying Iran is not involved in this? This is the first time where they have said Iran is not involved in this. You could, I joked about this yesterday. Someone could fart inside of Israel and they would say it is Iran that is responsible for this. So why have they changed that attitude? What the fuck is going on? Netanyahu is live now, so we'll hear.
At the end of the war, all our enemies will know it was a terrible mistake to attack Israel. What we will do to our enemy in the next few days will echo.
To say Israel has the right to...
Already, the battlefield is filled with heroic stories of our people, from the citizens, the policemen, the
brother. You haven't even secured southern Israel. What the fuck? Why did they move away from trying to at least like protect internal Israeli security immediately to hit the genocide button? It's so odd. They literally are fucking insane. Like they're so horny for blood that they are not even like, how are you speaking like it's over and also just beginning?
On the field, and he saw the...
Do you think they're actually doing a genocide? I don't know. You tell me. They said they're shutting off the water, the power, which they do regularly anyway. They're stopping the food supply. It's an open-air prison. And they're engaging 300,000 reservists. What do you think that is? Do you think they're going in there to hug and kiss the people? No. They're going in there. They're going in there to fucking kill. A final solution. They bombed the mosque in Gaza, a military target. Israel has never bombed a military target in Gaza. Gaza is one of the most densely populated places. It's 2.2 million people, 2 million people living in a fucking tiny ass strip, okay? It's all children for the most part too. It's majority under the age of 18. The average age is 18, dude. The average age is 18 years old. They're bombing fucking kids inside of hospitals, mosques, schools, and saying that they're doing this because the Hamas is actually using them as meat shields, as like human shields. Okay? It's completely fucking ridiculous. It is, and they're not even hiding it. Like, this is a straight up war crime, dude. This is war crime shit. They're already done. They've already done it. They've already done it. It took 2 days for some Israeli citizens to feel exactly like the way Palestinian people feel every single fucking day of their lives, for them to go, okay, it's genocide button. Complete siege on Gaza, no electricity, no food, no fuel, no water, everything is closed. Now you have to remember something. How can they do that? I thought Gaza, they could just leave, right? How could they fucking do that? Because they can't do that. It's a prison. It's an open air prison. There's always this weird notion, okay? There's always this weird notion that whenever you deal with someone who's like an ultra Zionist online, where they always say the most insane shit, where they'll be like, Gaza's not an open air prison. But then when push comes to shove, they routinely recognize that it is an open air prison. You know what I mean? It's the same principle behind the Nakba, right? They're like, on the one hand, they say the Nakba didn't happen. And then also on the other hand, they're like, but it should have happened. And if it did happen, then we're going to do it again. And it's going to be much worse. It's always the same bullshit, okay? It's always the same fucking bullshit. Yeah, it's always like, oh, Gaza's not an open-air prison. We just control all flow of supplies going in and out of Gaza. We control the entire electricity grid of Gaza. We control the entire water supply of Gaza. We control the food supply of Gaza. You know what I mean? But it's not. But like, and people can't go in and out of Gaza freely. But it's not an open-air prison. Come on. Serious question. What do we need for a two-state solution? A two-state solution is what Israel claimed it was going to do so that they could keep doing this like slow burn ethnic displacement and cleansing that they've been engaging in. It's fucking bullshit. Reparations to all Palestinians and also give land back to the Palestinians and create a singular state where everyone has equal rights, a secular singular state that is more representative of historic Palestine, where Jews, Christians, and Muslims could live freely. Okay? That's it. It's fucking ridiculous. And no, that doesn't mean a Muslim state either, or a Muslim fundamentalist state where all the Jews get fucking wiped out either. That is ridiculous. And that would never happen anyway. And so it's silly when people bring that up as a counter. Back in 2008, Israel did a ground invasion of Gaza, killing 1,400. In 2014, they bombed. Yes. Protractedly killing 2,300 both times. 70% of the casualties were civilians in both of those campaigns. Yes. I mean, yeah, you see a lot of this. Like, flatten everything. Spare no school. No children's hospital. No old age home. Delete their entire gene pool off the face of the earth. Dude, people that have been historically oppressed, hitting the fucking Hitler particle button so quick is just wild to me, okay? We are not that far removed from Nazi Germany and the fucking Holocaust. Like, how can you just jump there? They bombed the only telecom building in Gaza and the one gate to the Egyptian border. Yeah. Gaza is literally under siege for decades, and the entirety of the Western media apparatus actively, Israel has not been doing mass violence daily for decades. Yes. There are a lot of people who are just simply misguided. Okay? There are a lot of people who are just simply misguided. They've been blinded to the truth, or maybe they are completely oblivious to the reality. Or maybe sometimes they're cynically weaponizing that lack of interest or lack of knowledge in what has actually happened in the Israeli-Palestinian relationship. Okay, there's going to be a lot of people who are misinformed by it or utilizing the lack of information to their advantage. But there you go. You can find. I mean, when you have the asymmetry of warfare that Israel has maintained in its endless occupation, okay? And when you have the head of the military apparatus saying, we are fighting human animals, which you can say is a mistranslation, but the other translation is not much better either, which is beasts and not real humans, okay? And you hear him say, we shut off the food, we shut off the water, we shut off the electricity, we shut off everything, and we're fucking going in. And they've been bombing it into rubble. You don't really need to do anything else. You don't really need any additional context. I mean, he's saying it very clearly. Yeah, we're fighting human animals and we will act accordingly. Bro, you are a human animal. Like, what the fuck do you mean? Israel just bombed Gaza's telecommunication company, Paltel, causing internet and phone signal blackouts in major parts of the enclave. The company and its building has zero connection to Hamas or any other groups. They are deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure, which is a war crime. But of course it's a war crime. Why the fuck wouldn't they do war crimes? Their entire existence, their entire occupation is technically a fucking war crime, and they're going to keep doing more and more of these war crimes. And guess what's going to happen? Guess what's going to happen? Nobody is going to fucking turn around, and when they're getting bombed and they're having their buildings reduced to rubble, when they see their fucking fathers holding out their dead babies out in the streets, go, wow, this surely is Hamas's fault. I can't believe Hamas brought about this violence to our heads. You want to know why they're not going to say that? Because they've been getting bombed like this already. They've been getting bombed like this when Hamas doesn't do anything. They've been getting bombed like this when Hamas does do shit. They've been getting bombed like this. Or on the other side, on the West Bank, they're literally cooperating with Israel. And all that is given them is more death, more humiliation, more destruction, more loss of houses, more ethnic displacement. So at a certain point, they're like, okay, well, I guess we can't trust the state of Israel to have our best interests at heart, because why the fuck would they? God damn it, every fucking Ramadan, they go in to Al-Aqsa and beat the shit out of people who are just simply praying, dude. And then the media rarely ever covers it, or if they do, they cover the violent clashes as though it's not asymmetrical, as though the entire police apparatus is not a colonial task force that is there specifically to fucking kill Palestinians in the West Bank. The entire world knows that that is a war crime, that that is an act of terrorism. Fucking Israelis know that. The Israeli position originally was, why the fuck are we giving these settlers any money? They're freeloaders. We have our problems of our own, okay? Why the fuck are we giving settlers money to go and live there, okay? Because the Israeli government's position was different than the Israeli population's opinion on the matter. The Israeli population's opinion was, why the fuck are we giving money to the settlers? They're freeloaders. They're also crazy, kooky, religious guys that think like they can just go there and bulldoze Palestinian houses. The Interior Ministry openly stated time and time again that this presented a major security threat because the more you fucking kill people in the West Bank, the more the entirety of the Palestinian population is going to say, what the fuck are you doing? And they said, you're woke. Shut the fuck up, woke person. How dare you tell me? Yeah, here, look at this. I mean, let's see if I can get this without the paywall here. But here, the leftist deep state agenda has infiltrated the Shin Bet. Israeli minister slams security chief. Members of Netanyahu's coalition criticized the head of the Shin Bet security service after he warned Netanyahu about the dangers of Israeli Jewish terrorism. Shin Bet chief Ronen Bar warned Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that Israeli Jewish terror fans the flames of Palestinian terror, according to a report by the Israeli online outlet Ynet News. They knew. There are plenty of people that know that the more you fucking kill people in the West Bank, the more people go fucking crazy for understandable reasons. You can only push people so far until they strike back when they feel as though they have nothing. It's fucking nuts. Anyone and everyone that is not on board with the ultra-nationalist, hyper-right-wing, straight-up, openly fascist agenda of Ben-Gvir and so many other coalitions that Bibi Netanyahu had to build specifically so he doesn't fucking go to prison, okay? Those people are not popular internally inside of Israel either, because there's plenty of liberal Israelis who themselves are Zionists, who themselves do not even think of Palestinians as human beings, going, dog, this is too much. You're doing too much. And you think you can get away with it, but eventually this level of violence, even if you do not have a moral distaste for, okay, even if you do not consider it to be abhorrent and immoral, you still recognize that from a realistic perspective, this level of violence is going to beget violence. This level of violence is going to inevitably cause blowback. And that is precisely what is happening today. And now you're seeing what is going on. People say, oh my God, Iran, evil. Iran is so evil. Iran is so evil for supporting Palestinians. Like the war between Israel and Iran, And it's like, bro, they have no one else to rely on. The Palestinian people have no one else to rely on but Hamas. They literally have been backed into a fucking corner where the fundamentalist Islamist group is the only people that are like, fuck this shit. We have to engage in violent struggle. Think about that. Think about that situation. If you want the violence to end, you have to make amends. If you want the violence to end, you have to end the occupation. Consistently pushing these people into a corner is demonstrably a failure, okay? That is the reason why what happened over the weekend happened. And there are people inside of Israel, and there are plenty of, and I'm not even talking about like anti-fascist Jews, okay? Like there are plenty of Zionists who fucking recognize that. If you think that Shin Bet is like a bunch of libtards, I don't know what to fucking tell you, okay? People have been predicting this for a very long time, okay? They've been predicting that this was going to happen for a very long time, and now it's happening. Israeli Army radio says we've stopped using warning missiles in Gaza and will instead use massive evacuation. Much more damage and death toll is wished. I don't know how. I don't know if that's real or not, but it doesn't even matter. The warning missiles are also bullshit anyway. They've never been real. It's crazy to me that we treat Israel like this unstoppable force, like they are not human beings that are making these decisions to bomb schools, mosques, hospitals, and also the Associated Press building. And as long as they can say, hey, guess what? actually, sorry, there's a Hamas there, even though there is never any fucking evidence whatsoever for the record, okay, then it's fine. It's perfectly fine. Hamas is everywhere. Hamas is everywhere. It's like, yeah, after a certain point, Hamas does get to be everywhere. You want to know why? Because if you keep pushing these people, then Hamas is the only out that they have. Sorry, when there was a peaceful march to return to Israel, we had to snipe 12-year-olds and pregnant women and doctors and people who are a part of the press, which we still continue to do because Hamas is using them as human shields. You know what I mean? There is no singular way to make this argument. There is no way that you can make this argument from a morality point of view. No one ever calls Israeli officials to question when they are a well-developed state that has consistently oppressed the Palestinian people and killed them in ways that, like, Hamas wishes they could fucking touch Israel with. Okay? People are like, oh, I can't believe they, like, are openly shooting people out in the streets. It's like, what do you think Israel has been doing? There is no comparison, okay? There's no comparison. Unless you look at Israelis and say, they are the humans, and you look at Palestinians and you say, they are the dogs. And for the record, once again, you can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. You can get so fucking rabid. You can get so fucking angry. But ultimately, it doesn't change the reality, because even liberal Zionists inside of Israel are saying that this level of anger that you are directing, this level of violence that you are subjugating the Palestinian people to, is the reason why Israelis are dying, okay? You can fucking keep saying, like, oh, why don't you denounce Hamas? Why don't you denounce the murderers? Why don't you denounce the civilian deaths? It's like, of course, dude. What do you think? You think it's fucking awesome that civilians are dying? No, of course not, you fucking idiot. You are trying to shadow box. You are trying to shadow box desperately because you know that there is no real reason for, there's no real way out of this other than scaling back Israel's war crimes, okay? You don't want to address the actual root cause of the problem, so you just desperately want to fucking find a shadow to attack, a tackle, and be like, oh, seems like you love Hamas. Yeah, dude. Big fan of Islamist fundamentalists, dude. Big fan. Definitely. A lot of Americans just don't know what life is like for Gaza, so here's an analogy that might help. Imagine Gaza as Rhode Island. Yeah. Here's what it would look like. Anyone from Rhode Island would be trapped within its borders. Rhode Islanders can't leave without express permission from Massachusetts. Connecticut is complicit in this plan, effectively restricting any movement from those trapped in Rhode Island. Keep in mind, Rhode Island is the second most densely populated in the U.S. with 10x more land and half the amount of people in the Gaza Strip. If we do basic proportion of this analogy, Rhode Island's population would have to be 26 million people. Despite hearing a lot of scary stuff about people of Rhode Island, over 40% of its 26 million people is 14 or younger. Over 40% of the Gaza Strip is 14 and under. Do you understand? That's who you're bombing when you're bombing Gaza. That's who you're bombing. 2 million kids, dude. Well, not all of them are children. There's a lot of elderly, too. Think about that. The average age in Gaza is 18. That's who you're fucking bombing when you're bombing. And then they say, oh my God, you know, Hamas is using them as human shields. These children have known nothing but bloodshed. Israel just cut the remaining water supply that they had. 97% of the water is toxic. Over 50% of Gazan children have PTSD. They're depressive, they're depressed, they're suicidal, they have no outlet, they have nothing. Their existence is a crime because they were born on the wrong side of a fucking fence. A fence that Israel put up. A fence that originally Britain put up and also allowed Israel to facilitate and continue. And the Western world continues that apartheid state. I don't understand the high support for Israel, though. What the fuck is this?
Several celebrities have copped backlash.
What do you mean you don't understand the high support for Israel? First of all, Gal Gadot literally served in the IDF. Of course she's fucking going to be supporter for Israel. And why the fuck wouldn't the celebrities support Israel? A lot of people think that celebrities are like somehow smarter than the average person. Look to your fucking community. Look around. Look at Reddit. Who do you think? Why do you think they have a high level of support for Israel? Because it is almost impossible to empathize with the colonized if you are living in America. That's number one. And number two, it's not like the media makes a deliberate effort to educate people and they simply propagandize the apartheid state. America especially is egregious when this in this propaganda. Okay? Why do you think the support for Palestinians in Ireland, another Western nation, is so fucking high historically in comparison to every other nation in the West. Think about it. There are so many reasons as to why Americans view Palestinians as terrorists. The war on terror is another reason, okay? The fact that they're aligned with Iran is another reason, because that's like one of the only places that they can get actual fucking support from. There are spiritual reasons, obviously, like I said, the dialectic between those who are colonized and those who are the colonizers. Obviously, Americans are going to be more empathetic to the colonizer, considering our current circumstances and how this nation state was developed. But then beyond that, the media is doing round-the-clock propaganda. The media is doing round-the-clock propaganda, and I don't mean like this past week. I mean in perpetuity. It goes all the way from the neutral coverage whenever Israel is retaliating and they're forced to retaliate, all the way to when a Palestinian kills an Israeli, that's a murder. When an Israeli kills a Palestinian, that's just simply collateral damage. That is always the coverage. That has never changed. So if every single person is seeing it like that, and there is no one out there that is actually in mainstream circles genuinely advocating for the plight of Palestinians and actually describing what the situation looks like regularly with the same severity and fervor that mainstream media engages in the other side's propaganda on, you're never, like, it's designed to churn out these results. Like, think about it. And then even when you do actually end up talking about Israel's atrocities, okay, atrocities that has caused this last security fuck up, by the way, for multiple different reasons. Even when you cover it, people come in here, even now, and say, Hasan, you're a fucking piece of shit. You love Hamas. You want, like, gang rape, systematic gang rape to happen in Israel or something. Like, people do not want to address the situation accurately. Oh, you're anti-Semitic. Actually, well, luckily, I don't get hit with the Hasan, you're anti-Semitic stuff. No, not to bring it on, but oh, the Prime Minister of Israel is tweeting out footage of his country bombing Gaza and his civilians. Yeah, straight up. They're posting this like it's a dub, dude. Just wiping out entire city blocks where people live, children live, and then posting it as like this major fucking dub. If Gaza is an open air prison that is under siege, explain the following: high obesity rate, oodles of luxury goods. Gaza shares a border with Egypt. If there's a blockade, bro, this is, oh, for the record, this is identical to Nazi arguments against the Holocaust. High obesity rate does not, first of all, not even entirely sure if that's the case, but I'm pretty sure that's just a lie. But also, high obesity rate does not mean that, that does not mean that, like, people are actually healthy, dumbass. The idea, oh my God, it's just shockingly obese people are not so healthy. I mean, I didn't know that there was a high obesity rate in Gaza. I'm shocked if that is true even. I definitely know that oodles of luxury goods do not exist in Gaza. You know what I mean? So I think that is an abject lie. For the water issues, maybe stop digging up water infrastructure and materials to build rockets. I don't know. Also, relying on your supposed oppressor for water and electricity is just wild. Yeah, it is wild. It's so crazy how that situation occurred. But it's certainly not an open-air prison. But they are not allowed to even create water desalination plants. Yeah. Again, you cannot make this argument and make it make sense because of the reality of how fucking insane the situation on the ground is, how cruel and inhumane the situation on the ground is. So, of course, even when you try to cut propaganda, you just either come across like a fucking moron like this guy, or you literally end up saying shit. And this is my favorite type of Israeli defense brigade troll, I guess, is they regularly use Israel's own fucking war crimes to make it seem like it's actually the Palestinians are doing that. Like, you saw the fucking footage of the babies locked in cages, right? And they were like, I cannot believe Hamas is locking little babies in cages. And it's like, no, dog, that's Israel. They are doing that to the Palestinians. That's crazy. What is this? This seems relevant. Violence never solves anything. Send them every tank in existence. I don't want to have this argument over and over again, okay? Yeah, I really didn't think I needed to say that the situation over there is heartbreaking and terrible. You know, it's fucking crazy to send someone a message like, are you against rape and murder? Have you tried being normal? And this is ignoring you're from Long Island or whatever. Yeah. People immediately go, oh, dude, you are in support of, like, the roving Muslim barbarian gangs of rapists that have infiltrated Israel to do rapes, to do mass rapes. That is like how do you not see what the fuck's going on there? How do you not recognize like what you are participating in? The barbarian Muslim hordes are there to do rapes. Gaza has an obesity rate of 20%, which is around the same as war-torn Yemen. Nothing like the 40 to 50% in rich Gulf countries. It might just be a genetic predisposition to obesity, low BMR among Arabs. Can you explain why this isn't about religion? Why the fuck would this be about religion? Religion is a tool. Religion is a tool to galvanize. Religion is a tool to weaponize. Religion is not the real reason why people engage in any kind of conquest of land, okay? Religion is just used in that situation. To give you a sense of how effectively Western political leadership is working right now, the EU first said it was suspending all aid to Palestinians. Then it was pointed out that this aid wasn't going to Hamas anyway, and Ireland, Spain, and others objected. So the EU says, never mind. So, for the record, not giving aid to Palestinians is literally against the interests of Israel. Donald Trump tried to lower the amount of aid that Palestinians were receiving. You know who fucking said you can't do that? Israel. You want to know why? Because the less aid Palestinians get from Western sources, which is already marginal to begin with, the more they get from Iran. Even Israelis understand that. Even the guys who are literally like, this is our open-air prison, dog, even they recognize it. And it's not because of a morality point of view. That's what I'm saying. Because fascism is inherently a self-defeating ideal, okay? It is self-defeating. You will inevitably erode your own sense of security, which is happening right now. The more you push, the more people are finally going to recognize that they have no other option. And let me tell you, Palestinians can't fucking get on the first flight from the Gurion airport back to Long Island, okay? They're there. They're stuck. So they're going to fucking inevitably go, I'm pushed into a goddamn corner. I have to fight back. Holy land, this forever conflict, the hatred that fuels all, it stems from religion. Yeah, dude, that's why fucking Theodore Herzl was like, we should go to Argentina or Uganda to build the Jewish land. Like, no, man, that's just a way to fucking justify it. What the fuck are you talking about? Shut the fuck up, atheist. Jesus Christ, your horniness for like how much you hate religion ends up causing you to do bad analysis. It's like saying Hamas, or it's like saying Palestinians across the board are just like rabid Muslims and that's why they hate Israel. Because Israelis are all Jews. Like, what are you doing? If that was the case, why the fuck are they owning the Palestinian Christians of the West Bank? Why are they not making any fucking differences there? 5,590 deaths on the Palestinian side to 251 on the Israeli side. How does that work? How does this disproportionate violence happen? And by the way, you want to know what this 31,000 number is? That is the peaceful march to return. That's when Palestinians in Gaza, trapped in the largest open-air prison on the fucking planet, decided to demonstrate peacefully. And you know what they did? You know what Israel did? They shot them and they killed them. Pregnant women, 14-year-old girls, okay? They shot them. They kneecapped them deliberately, okay? There is no world in which you can defend this monstrosity. You can't do that. Just because the entire world didn't give a fuck doesn't mean it didn't happen, dude. 31,558 Palestinians were shot. There were snipers on the Israeli side that literally said they were deliberately taking 42 kneecaps a day. They shot medics. They shot journalists and killed them. They fucking killed a beloved journalist in a refugee camp and then tried to say Palestinians did it like literally a couple months ago. An American citizen. But because they are ostensibly on the side of truth and believe that Palestinians deserve humanity, then they are an enemy combatant, despite the fact that they literally had a helmet that said press and a fucking armor that said press on it, and they still got shot in the fucking neck deliberately by an IDF sniper. And then they turned around and they fucking lied and said the Palestinians actually shot that person. And then it didn't end there. When the Palestinians tried to have a funeral for this person, the IDF came in and beat the fuck out of them. What do you do in that situation? You think that's just? You think that's the most moral army in the world? If you think that that is the most moral army in the fucking world, you are the most immoral person I have ever fucking seen in my entire life. Even American media was like, yeah, dog, that's crazy. Literally kill people on camera and blame Palestinians is just insane, the cognitive dissonance people have. Yes. To show you the cruelty of the Israeli siege of Gaza, Senator John Kerry, an enemy of Palestinians, mind you, once urged the Israeli government to allow pasta into Gaza. Pasta was on the list of prohibited items. They raided her funeral. Dude, look at this. Human cost from 2008 to 2023, leading up to this this moment on October 7th. Okay? You really think that this is comparable in any way? You think that this is comparable at all? Here, look at what they did.
Trying to get inside.
This is what they fucking did. Here.
The Al Jazeera reporter was
I have to pee. I'll be back in a second.
Covering a raid by Israeli forces in the occupied West Bank on Wednesday. Earlier today, an Israeli officer was shot dead and several Palestinians injured during an army raid to make arrests near Jenin in the West Bank. It follows several weeks of mounting violence with dozens killed on both sides. Our Middle East correspondent Tom Bateman reports.
Shireen Abu Akleh was one of the best-known voices to Palestinians. Now in death, a national symbol. But grief for a revered reporter was to turn to fear and panic for the mourners. Israel's security forces had entered the hospital gates as Palestinians tried to walk the coffin out. The police fired stun grenades and pushed the crowd back. Many rushed for cover inside.
We've had complete chaos with people trying to get inside. I saw a woman with a very young baby, a patient or somebody who was here just at the hospital, caught in the middle of a huge crowd trying to get inside.
And even the pallbearers had to retreat as police kicked and beat them with batons. And the coffin slips to the ground. The force says it acted to stop what it called incitement and stone throwing. Shireen Abu Akleh was shot in the head covering an arrest raid by Israel's army. Reporters on the scene say the gunfire came from the soldiers, but Israel maintains Palestinian gunmen may have fired the fatal shot.
It's censored. It's censored.
To say a final goodbye. At her Christian funeral mass,
they wouldn't even let her fucking. They wouldn't even give her the dignity. They wouldn't even let her have a fucking funeral, dog. Get the fuck out of here, okay? Get the absolute fuck out of here. You're crazy. You're crazy. There is no justification for this. In many instances, it is simply just violence for the sake of violence, brutality for the sake of brutality. They did it because they don't care, because these people are not actually fucking, like, they don't see Palestinians as humans. And if you do say Palestinians are humans, you're also an enemy. If you're critical of the Israeli state, then you are an anti-Semite. There is no way out, okay? Yeah, also, it's just religion falls apart. It's just religion is inherently a fucking anti-Semitic argument in this situation. What are you saying? Then, like, that Jews are somehow incapable of exercising self-control and they just, like, hate all of the other religions? Like, that's not the case at all. It's ridiculous. There are secular Jews living inside of Israel. They are the ones who are fucking also fighting against the Israeli far right. This kind of violence is so unjustifiable. And here it is. Here is Netanyahu saying anyone who wants to thwart the establishment of a Palestinian state has to support bolstering Hamas and transferring money to Hamas. Netanyahu told his Likud party's Knesset members in March 2019. This is a part of our strategy. Another concept implodes. Israel can't be managed by a criminal defendant. A direct line runs between the judicial overhaul and the Gaza war. Why are even the Zionists pointing this out? Okay? Why are Zionists pointing this out? Because once again, fascism is a death cult, and the more fascist you get, the more you harm yourself. White supremacy is a death cult. It kills white people too, okay? And it's the same for the ultra-Zionist far right in Israel. The more you fucking squeeze and the more you think you can get out of the Palestinians, the more you can back them into a fucking corner, the more you lose sight of treating your own people. Now Hamas is threatening to publicly execute the hostages. Yeah, you know what? You know what is crazy? First of all, I don't trust the Wall Street Journal. Let me just say. They might actually do that. They might actually claim to do that. That is, it doesn't matter. That plays into the hands of whatever the Israeli military was going to say when the inevitable death and destruction of the Israelis that are currently being held captive in Gaza happens. Also, let me tell you why I don't trust the Wall Street Journal. Because yesterday, Wall Street Journal was like, oh, dude, Iran definitely is the reason why Hamas did this. Okay, Iran and Hamas are collaborating. The American State Department said, we have no information. This is probably true, by the way. Hamas is probably threatening to execute Israelis in response to the bombing of Gaza. Terrible mistake. Doesn't it make sense after Iran received $6 billion that they would help Palestine? First of all, do I think that Iran is helping Hamas? Of course. Do I think Iran is helping Palestinians? Of course. I'm shocked that the IDF's own internal spokesperson and the American State Department, however, has said that that is not happening. This is a last-ditch effort by the Palestinians. It's not going to do anything. They're done. Once Israel decided, no, we're going to keep the bombing campaign, we're going to keep doing the bombing campaign, and even if our bombs killed Israeli citizens that are currently held hostage, it's done. The retaliatory threat to execute hostages was broadcast on Al Jazeera. Yeah, it seems like they're saying this is a last-ditch effort. There's nothing left for them. It's only going to get worse from here on out.